Good morning, everybody. Mike Wright, Edge Home Finance. We appreciate y'all being here today on the Realtor Connect group. I have the pleasure of interviewing an amazing friend. This guy is super talented, Tyler Santos. Tyler, thank you very much for being here, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's super cool. I had under my notes Director of Operations, but him and two other partners own Realty WRX. Works, baby.
But we find ourselves having to spell the WRX for people so they know. Realty works.
That's right. Yep. That's right. For simple minds like myself, So, anyways, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much as a Realtor of the Week. And I'm super excited to learn what makes you tick, man.
Yeah.
So tell me, I know that you came here today with a couple of your kids. Welcome to dad duty, They're out there with their iPads and just relaxing, eating popcorn. So
they're very well trained in real estate at this point. They come with me to a lot of things. So
isn't that funny? They just adapt.
Yeah.
Super well behaved, super nice. So I applaud you. So married?
Married, yep.
And you tell us a little bit about your bride?
Yep, my wife is Santos. She's from Chanhassen, and I met her when I was in school here for a year. And we met, connected. Circumstances didn't really allow us to pursue anything, but then we reconnected, via FaceTime and social media, and then it turned into me coming out to visit. That visit turned into a visit the next month, to a long-distance relationship for a year and a half.
Wow.
And then I was living in Boston at the time.
Got it.
Where I'm from, the East Coast. And eventually, after a year and a half of long-distance dating, it was, or get off the pot. And so I chose to move out to Minnesota to be with her.
I love it. His in-laws were tremendous friends of ours, all as we raised our kids at Chanhassen. So I've got a ton of respect for all of them. Miles, peace, my friend. But anyways, so tell us how you ended up falling into the real estate world.
Yeah. Excuse me. So it started, my brother and I would be sharing ideas of things we read on Bigger Pockets. We were, buying books about investing, about real estate in general. And when I made the move from Boston to Minnesota, I said, this is a good fresh start. I want to get into real estate in one facet or another. And so I looked for a job, and I found an executive assistant role, which was a good natural transition from my previous role at the company I worked for in Boston. I said, this is a good way for me to learn the industry, earn a salary position while I learned the ropes of real estate. And so that's what I did. From the day I moved here, I had the job lined up and started with John Anderson.
Yeah, sure.
We were another company at that point, but that was how I got started.
He is a good man. And so tell us a little bit about many of these people out here. Obviously, we have 950 realtors in this group, and they will all appreciate your story because what Tyler had to go through is he had 20 realtors at that time.
Yeah, I think we had 20 agents and a few support staff as well. But yeah, I think at our peak we might have even had 23. Yeah.
Well, and I remember the days. I mean, because of COVID.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you've got people that are sitting there twiddling their thumbs, going, "What are we going to do?"
Yep. And
so, was that a hard transition for you guys? I mean, it may have minimized your responsibilities.
Yeah.
Was it hard?
It was hard, yeah. And I think we were maybe a little naive in thinking how easy it would be going from that many agents down to 3 of us. You'd think that things get simpler. That wasn't the case necessarily. And the other thing is we were friends with a lot of these people. It wasn't an easy decision. And times were tough. We don't, put anything, it's not their fault necessarily that the market was a little tough and, people didn't really know what to do. And so yeah, it wasn't an easy transition. I think it was the right decision to do it, but I mean, we're still learning as we go and learning from mistakes and trying to get better. So.
But that's the name of the game, isn't it? I mean, that's if it all was easy, every single person out here would be rolling.
And it keeps it exciting too, I think.
Yeah. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing a lot of tremendous agents, right? Yeah. And so many have the similar story. This COVID thing threw people for a loop.
Yeah.
And the fittest survived.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is to touch base on your. So, John, you guys have been friends since before?
No, I first met John in my first remote interview before I even made the move here, before I drove across from Massachusetts to Minnesota. So I'd met him that way, and just got to know him through working with him. Him and I always kind of connected from the start.
Perfect.
We thought a lot alike. We liked working on systems and operations together. We kind of have that mind. So it just was a natural fit. And over the 3-4 years that I've been working with John, we've just become like family, basically.
Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
I consider Tyler Burkle and John Anderson both family at this point. We work so closely together. So
Well, and it's kind of they've all thrown away the titles. I mean, I know is John the broker, correct?
he's the broker on file.
Yep,
Yeah,
got it.
Yep. And
but otherwise, the realtors are a realtor are the is the deal.
Yeah. Yep.
So elaborate a little bit. I know you talked about systems. What is the business model now?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So I said to Mike before we started that we like to think of ourselves as the Navy SEALs of real estate.
Yeah.
And why I say that and what I mean by that is that when we go into a seller appointment, we can really just listen to what the seller wants and needs and have a solution for them. We buy homes directly from sellers. We own a good chunk of rental properties that we've acquired. We offer contract for deed financing for buyers. We are real estate agents, so we have the option to list a house if that's the route we need to go.
Yeah.
So it gives us, I think, a leg up, and I think that's kind of, I think you have to have that arsenal in today's day and age. Instead of just specializing in one thing, you have to have skills and options in a bunch of areas so that you can really serve the sellers to the best of your ability and give them a solution that works for them. And so we try to be that solution.
So you offer contract for deed financing.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
My great partner Jake had a gentleman on who basically he ended up with 20, 30, or maybe even more. Jake, 200 properties.
Yeah.
And offers contract for deed financing.
Yep.
Because it's a way for younger people.
Yep.
Or people to acquire homes. Is that what you're finding as well?
Yeah, well, and we also find there's a lot of people who have the money, the jobs, to afford a home, but they might not be bankable right now, and maybe they need 1 or 2 years of job history or building their credit up before they can become financeable. And so we like to have a solution to offer them. Hey, you can get into the house you want today. We buy the house and then we turn around and sell it to you on a contract for deed the next day, and give you those X amount of years till you're ready to refinance the home into your name and buy the home that way. So yeah, it's just another option to have.
And just so everyone knows, after they get to that point, then he's calling me, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Get that permanent financing all done, right?
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But so now investment properties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many do you got yourself?
We have, I'm a third owner with John and Tyler, so everything we buy we're third owners. We own, I think we're at 25 right now. We're currently selling 2 duplexes, and we're under contract with those right now.
Good for you.
Just got through the inspection period, so we're moving forward there. So we buy some, we sell some, but we have around 25 right now, and that's a combination of single family and duplexes.
So 3 partners, and I'm going to go back to my days as owning Discover Mortgage. I had 3 partners. It didn't work out great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How is your business set up, knowing you're not all family?
Yep. Yeah, well,
LLC, S Corp.
LLCs. We each have our own individual LLCs, and then we have a holding company above there that we're all third owners of. So everything has been drawn up by lawyers and is on the up and up, and we all feel comfortable with our setup. And you hear the nightmare stories about partnerships. We all do, and it's definitely a risk. And I would just say that John, Tyler, and I have built up so much trust over the years, and been through so many ups and downs together, and I think we know each other's hearts, And so we, like you said, have that trust with each other. So it works out nicely.
Well, and I applaud you for that, because laying all the dirt out right away is so critical.
Yeah.
But the brilliance behind setting this stuff up as a LLC is that minimizing your exposure
Yes.
to renters. And
yeah, we like to keep things, as compartmentalized as possible.
as many
Right.
layers
Yes.
as you can, right?
Yeah. Well, we do property management, so we want a property management LLC too, because that's another level of separation between, that and everything else we own. So very, very wise to kind of talk to somebody before you start one of these and how to structure it correctly.
So you've got a property management company.
Yeah.
Do you have a separate person that runs that, or are you guys all handymen?
Yeah, the three of us.
Handymen,
If we can fix something and do it ourselves, we will. And trust me, we've learned how to do a lot of that as we go. But we have certain contractors that we'll call when it's something above our
electrician, that type deal. What do you get a lot of calls?
It comes in waves. It seems like we'll get a lot at once, and then once those big ticket items are done and fixed, they seem to be good for a while, and then it's maybe a little minor thing that comes up here and there. But it keeps us busy. I'll say that. Yeah, if we're not doing real estate and working with buyers and sellers, we're probably doing something with one of the rentals.
So. Tell me a little bit about, because obviously as I'm learning more about your business, are you looking at growing your business, or, you've been there, done that, now
That's
we're good?
That's a good question. Yeah, we're not opposed to growing it. I would just say that we're looking to do it in a very natural way. We connect with a lot of people who kind of do the same things we do, but they're, maybe on their own or at another brokerage. And we have a lot of good relationships with people we've built over the years through doing deals together or, lunch and learns or whatever it is. If the right person comes along and it's somebody that kind of thinks like us and has the same goals and aspirations and could be an asset to our, not just the brokerage, but the investment side too, then we're not opposed to bringing somebody on. And we've kind of had that conversation amongst ourselves, pretty recently. Would we bring someone on? Would we want to grow? And I think the answer is yes, if it's the right fit.
The right fit.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's where this, the disc profiles or a lot of questions, maybe sometimes hard questions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point.
Because there's a tendency for people to come because they want to be fed.
Yeah.
So tell me I interview a lot of people from EXP, Edina Realty, Coldwell Banker.
Yeah.
Has this tell people the pros and cons of starting up your own gig?
Yeah. The pros, I think, are, we're able to really do whatever we want. We're small and we can pivot quickly. When the market switched and agents started to struggle, John and Tyler and I had already been doing investment type deals, and so we just pivoted. This is where we have to go right now, focus on the investment side, and we did, and that kept us afloat. We got rid of our high overhead quickly, which also allowed us to survive. The cons are, you're doing everything from scratch, right? You're starting from the beginning. You don't have a big brand name behind you, which can give you some instant credibility when you go into seller appointments or, any appointment, buyer appointments. They recognize a, big brokerage name, and so, that can be a con, but I think it's all about the person. It's about who you are and building that trust with the client so that they feel comfortable working with you. And I think once they have a chance to meet us and see what it is we do and explain to them how we do it, that they do trust us at that point. And then I think it's more about the pros for us.
Well, and I think you guys have done an amazing job building a portfolio of properties.
Yeah.
Right? You start dealing with a couple duplexes, and now you may be that go-to. There's a lot of investors out there. A lot of these people out here have investors that may call you and say, hey, if one of your fourplexes come up, Are you are you open to that type stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. We've built a lot of relationships with other investors and wholesalers, and we've had a lot of our deals come to us through wholesalers who maybe had it under contract and then couldn't execute and called us and said, hey, would you be interested in this? And so we've kind of bailed a couple wholesalers out of some sticky situations too, and then they know they can trust us. So now they have a deal, they come to us, and we get first dibs on a lot of things to say, hey, do you want this or not? And if we do, great, and if not, we'll tell them. But yeah, those investor relationships are everything to us. We want to offer our properties if we're selling them to investors first. We always go to our people first, and if not, then we list it and do it that way. So always looking to network and meet and talk with more investors.
I think that's what it's all about. So did you have to, in order to get this contract for deed thing going, did you have to go to the bank and get some massive line, or are you just loaded, or what's the deal?
No, it is a banking relationship. We don't have the funds to fund these, and be happy to kind of go into the details sometime about the contract for deed. It's called In-House. It is the contract for deed company. It's a branch off of our brokerage. But yeah, basically 20% down. There's a 5-year balloon, and it just gives people the option to get into a house when they otherwise couldn't through a bank. So
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I mean, and I think that
nice.
20%, you guys have the brilliance with the knowing the market.
Yeah.
Investment properties.
Yeah.
The risk that you're facing. How big of a variable would that 20% down? I mean, are you saying, okay, 680, 640 credit scores?
Yeah.
What are you kind of using as your...
Yeah, that's a good question. And the thing that I think separates us and maybe some other guys who do this contract for deed stuff is that we're able to look at alternative sources of, to analyze credit and say, okay, show us this. Are you making these payments? And show us your income so we can, weigh that against what the payment would be. And so we're looking at multiple factors, but mostly it's, do you have the down payment amount, and can you, realistically afford the monthly payment? And are you going to likely be able to, refinance down the road when that time comes? So we don't want to put anybody in a tough situation, where they, say and think they can afford it, and then it becomes a difficult monthly payment for them. And we do that through an anticipated term sheet. So before we do anything, we're going to get all the numbers worked out, and we're going to send them the anticipated terms so they can see what this is going to look like, what they owe monthly, what they're going to owe at the end, how long they have, what's the final date, and so it's all out in the open from day one.
Well, we love it because, I mean, we've got the debt servicing coverage ratios, and these loans are becoming more and more and more.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, people just need the triplex, the fourplex, the duplex just needs to cover the debt.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's another variable that you guys are willing to look at because you know the tenants, you know the leases.
Yep, absolutely.
Right?
Yep, we'll look at all that.
So where do you think this goes? Give me a 3 to 5 year deal. I mean, are you looking at building the empire that Jake's friend has at 200 properties? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we want to keep building this empire. Sometimes it's one house at a time. Sometimes we've bought in small portfolios. We acquired a lot quickly, and so we want to keep acquiring. I think our ultimate goal too is we want to get into ground up multifamily construction. So that's down the line for us. We're kind of we're early in that process, but we're heading that direction, and that's something we're excited about.
Well, and I think that's where, and we offer a lot of this stuff where instead of you having the burden of doing the construction financing, we can do the one-time close, which minimizes your risk, your exposure, and you get paid when the property's done.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, well, that's an interesting deal. You got a lot of, your CPA must be one smart cat, huh?
Yeah, we keep them busy.
I mean, so that's really impressive. So 3 to 5 years. So the construction, potentially growing the business. How do people get a hold of you, Tyler? I mean, I learned so much about this cat with the with social media. But, again, I think we've all had to go into this last year and say, what do we need to tweak?
Sure.
What do we need to, put our efforts towards? And social media is an interesting deal, right?
Yeah.
The new thing is videos or, whatever the new little gadget is. I applaud you because your business model isn't so dependent on social media.
Right.
Are you like that?
Yeah, I was saying to you earlier that social media doesn't come naturally to me. I never think, oh, I'm doing this, I should take a picture of it or a video of it and post it. It's the mundane day-to-day stuff for us investors and realtors that we take for granted that, I found out that other people want to see, and they want to see you busy and want to see what you're doing throughout the day. And so I've made a conscious decision and an effort here to do more social media.
Good.
Just walk and talk videos with the camera in front of my face, and or posting about what my day looks like for the day, so they can see what the schedule is for the day. And it reminds people that this is what I do. This is what excites me. And if you are looking to buy or sell real estate, I'm someone you can call, and I can be a trusted resource for you.
Well, and I'll tell you what, Jake, again, a dear friend and a partner with all this stuff, is amazing. So if you need ever questions answered, etc., on how to do certain things, whether it's editing, whatever the case may be, let's touch base, because I think that it's so hard, and I've talked about this on this. They listen to my voice. And you just go, oh, for the love of God, it's horrible, right? Oh, I look goofed up.
Yep.
Who cares?
Nobody cares. That's what I found out too.
And be you.
People, I think, respect and admire people being vulnerable, and you are being vulnerable by putting yourself on camera, even when you're not comfortable doing it. And I think that people admire that a little bit, and so they're not judging you, I don't think, at all. They respect what you're doing, and most of the time, I think they actually enjoy it more than you think they do. And everybody's scrolling stories these days. So I do it, so they are too.
Your expertise with investment properties, with running a business, with contract for deeds, has so much relevant content that all these people can learn from, because it's critical, right? And it's here and it's now,
right? And
it's both the good and the bad with investment properties. I mean, any horror stories with the investment properties? I mean, or has it been pretty smooth for you? You don't have Guido that has to throw anybody out.
No, but a couple of things came to mind. The most recent was I got a call on Christmas night that the basement of one of our houses was flooding, and John lives all the way up in Cambridge, and Tyler was with family and unavailable. So, met me getting in my car at 9 o'clock and driving down to turn the water off, get the plumber over there that night. And so stuff like that happens. That's the most recent. We've had tenants where, we inherited a tenant and it wasn't a good fit.
Right.
And so we offered him cash for keys, to move. And that came with its own repercussions, even after, we had exchanged the cash for keys. And, not everyone's happy about you buying the property. So,
it's interesting, Tyler, because obviously we all know about this pending lawsuit, right?
Yes.
Where you guys make so much money and you don't do anything. I mean, what a crock, right? And I think that you just spelled out a few items that, yes, owning properties is huge. But they're sacrifices.
Absolutely.
But they're sacrifices for all of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you were good enough to go escape the family for Christmas and take care of a flooding basement, because tenants often don't know.
No, they don't. And, and that's something we learned. It's like, okay, going forward, we're going to have a laminated sheet and says, if this happens, here's where the water shut off is. Go down, shut it off so that it minimizes damage. And, that's something we can add to our SOPs. So we learn as we go, and sometimes we learn from our mistakes. And so still learning.
But I think those things also are so critical for you to share.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a really good point.
We're giving you some social media
Absolutely.
content.
I should go make a video after this on that. Yeah. See, that doesn't come naturally to me. I sometimes need someone to remind me, hey, that'd be a good video. So.
Well, and I think that it's just what Jake and I have been really good about is not only listing the talent we want to interview, but what topics.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that it's critical to have that. But even if it's impulsive, right? You're in the deal, you're doing a little video as you're 3 3 feet deep in water.
Right.
You know,
That would've
that'll
been
be a
great.
perfect
That would've
deal.
been great.
You know,
Yeah. Yep.
that's your priority at
Yep.
that point.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you coming on tremendously. I mean, this is why I love this stuff,
Yeah.
because I knew the family connection.
Yep.
And I have just a ton of respect for you, but I did not know all the different businesses.
Sure.
That's very
Yeah.
impressive. A man
Yeah.
comes from Boston and rips Minnesota up, huh?
We're working on it, getting there.
I like
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
have you switched from a Patriots or Red Sox fan to the Twins yet, or
I'm
what?
diehard New England, Boston sports, but I have found myself rooting for the Vikings when they're on, and starting to know all the who's who on the teams, and so I think it just
You just keep
happens
that
naturally.
You
But
just keep that Harrington family. You know, you have to do that to keep them at bay.
right,
That's
yeah.
good.
I
You
gotta
know?
keep my wife happy. She's diehard Vikings fan. So
Well, just tell everyone how to get a hold of you. I mean,
Yeah.
you got your cell, or
Yep.
Jake will also be sharing this information.
Yep.
But how do the people get a hold of you?
yeah, so Tyler Santos on Facebook, Twin Cities Tyler on Instagram, and you can call me. My cell phone number is 508-221-8245. My email is tyler@realtywrx.com. Any of those methods, you can email me, call, text, DM me, and that'll reach me.
I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for coming
Thank you
on
for
as a
having
Realtor
me.
of the Week.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. I
Yeah.
love learning from you, and wish you continued success.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. I know that the Realtor Connect group is approaching that 1,000-person mile marker, which will be huge for Jake and I. But without you guys, we don't have anything. So please follow. Please invite other realtors. We do have Instagram and a YouTube channel, both a Realtor of the Week. They're spelled a little differently, but if you Google it, you're going to get there. So thank you all very much. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
All righty, my friend.